Good morning, students. In the second chapter, the new kings and kingdoms, so far we will study the rise of new kingdoms, that is Palas, Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas, and even the Rajputs. And even we studied the administration of how the administration was in the North India, and the society and the religious practices, and the reason for tripartite struggle for Kannauj, and Turkey's invasion, and how the Muhammad Ghazni has invaded the India, and what is the purpose of him to invade India. And in the previous class we also studied about the Cholas and the two great emperors. One is Raja I and the Rajendra I, and what are his military achievements in conquering the Sri Lanka and the Gangaikonda Cholapuram in extending their empire. Now, in today's class, we are going to learn about the Cholas inscriptions and their administration, and whatever their contribution to the field of agriculture. So, these are the three topics we are going to study in today's class. So, students, this is how the inscription look like on the walls of the temples. On the temple walls, you can see, and in some of the historical places, when you go, you can please verify where some writing works will be written on the stone or the walls of the temples and some of the pillars, rocks. So these are the images of one of the image of example for the inscription. So students, today's topic is about the inscriptions of Chola period. So inscriptions are the writings which are engraved on stones, walls of the temples, and even we will find on the copper plates, pillars, and even metal sheet. So these inscriptions is nothing but the writings, written document, or the writings which will be seen on the walls of the temples, and even at the copper plates, stones, walls of temples, and pillars which are built by the earlier people. So students, as I said, the inscriptions are the main source for any kind of knowing the facts of the history or the information. In order to know any information about the historical kings or the places, the one of the source is inscription, or the one of the evidence, that the proof which the historians have found out, or the for the general public or the like us, inscriptions will helpful in knowing the details of the past, and it also helps in reconstructing of the history. When we consider the inscription and to know about the Chola Empire, it is the inscription which are written on the walls of the temples and the copper plates. They gives us certain details, like they provide details of rulers and their administration, grants, donations, and the revenue system, military achievements of the rulers, different functions which were performed by the village assemblies, trade guilds, and land grants. Even will also tells us something about them. So basically, the inscriptions which we will be found out during the Chola period, it gives us the information of rulers who have ruled, like Raja Rajendra or Rajendra I. What was his military achievements? How did he rule the society or his empire? What are the grants as a donation he was given to the people? How the revenues to get from the people in order to run the administration effectively and efficiently. And this inscription not only gives the achievements of the military achievements of the Cholas or the kings, even what were the religious practices that were followed by the people, and what were their business, trade, and what were their economical activities, and with whom they used to trade, with which countries they had relations. All those things they will be written on the walls of the temples, and even the older things which they were used, like it may be a copper, bronze, gold, silver, and the coins, and what is the value of the coins they used earlier. And these inscriptions were usually in the language of Sanskrit, and it also tells about the ruler and the previous rulers who have ruled the kingdom. Now coming to the Brihadeshwara temple, that is in the textbook which is given in this, the Brihadeshwara temple was built by Raja I, and by conquering his another place, that is Sri Lanka, and by crossing the river Ganga he took the title of Gangai Konda, isn't it? So this Brihadeshwara temple was built by Raja Raja I, and it tells about the on the inscription which will be found in the Brihadeshwara temple tells us on which day the special pujas will be going to held, or which what are the religious functions or the pujas which are done on which date, on which time. It is displayed in the walls of the temples in the Brihadeshwara temple. So inscriptions on the walls of temples tells us the details of temple rituals or the religious practices. What are the activities they used to perform and in detail, like special occasions, pujas, yagnas, yagas, how they used to do, on which date, on which timings. All these things will be known on the inscriptions written on the walls of the temples. And the Brihadeshwara temple and the Gangaikonda Cholapuram tells about the architectural sculpture feat of the Cholas, and they were known for the bronze sculptures. Bronze, it's one of the form of color, like how the silver, gold we have, like that bronze is another metal, which tells us about the in the bronze they used to make a sculpture like statues, like among that Nataraja, statue of Nataraja which is in bronze, was an important piece of architecture of the Cholas period. Now we'll see about the administration of the Chola, how the administration have been classified or divided among the members of the ministers and the king. So the first head of the administration was the king. As you all know, the king was the head of the state, who was assisted by with along with the help of the certain council of ministers will be there along with the king. The king is going to rule the state. Under him there will be a council of minister, and they are going to help in knowing all the information related to that particular empire or the region which will be ruled by the king. So the inscription of the Chola period provided information on this and how they used to rule the empire. Among these, the officials, they had officials like Penundaram. They are called the higher officials after the king. These were the people who look after the region or the empire. And next, under the Penudaram, Sirutaram. Sirutaram was the lower officials. These officials were mostly paid through land grants. They used to give the land in on the services which was received by the kings. For their services, they used to give a certain land for their work. So the Chola administration divided the like first the king, next under him the council of minister, under the certain officials like Penundaram and Sirutaram were the people who worked under the councils of ministers. And they used to handle all the like financial, economic, tax, revenue, everything. All this they used to manage. And again, the state was further divided into mandalams, valanadus or districts, and nadus. And these mandalams were taken care of by the family members of the king or the royal household. And mandalams were further divided into valanadus or districts, and these valanadus are the districts again divided into nadus. So a group of villages made one nadu. One nadu is equal to group of villages, and among this agriculture was their main occupation. Their occupation was agriculture, and there were lived a peasant families. Peasant family means who is working under the landlord, and these peasant families is going to work for the rent basis in the agricultural